Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's had a lot of, well, not very good publicity.
Yes. I wanted to ask you, are you a fan of Greg Hardy?
I I don't know. Like,
he's got to think about it. He's like,
I mean, I always think that everyone can have a second chance and things like that. And he does have a few questions around some legality stuff behind them. It had to do with his relationship and if there was any violence going on in the house and things like that. But it was never properly. It just put a stain on who people expected him to be when he, I believe he was in the NFL. He was drafted in the NFL at some point. I think it was 2010 or so. It was ages ago, right? Yeah. And now he's quite an athletic guy, and he's been taken into the UFC, expected to be very, very good and the smash machine. And we know he has KO power. It's unfortunate that he lost to Marcin Tybura because Marcin's very good, and I believe Greg Hardy's got some attributes that would make him a very good striker, right? The one thing I didn't like about Greg Hardy is that he almost didn't miss weight. He almost missed weight for heavyweight.
Yeah.
And that I don't think I've seen anyone do that before. Yeah. Even Brock Lesnar made weight, and he's like a planet. Okay, he's Jupiter. So he came back. I think he was like 266 or 260. No, not 260. He was like 267 or 268. I think he was like 1.5 pounds over the limit or something like that. But no one's ever done that before. And I think a lot of fighters and a lot of reporters were a bit unhappy about that because they were like, are you not taking the sport seriously? And I think a lot of people want people to take the sport seriously.
Well, there was an issue with in what they called Inhalergate.
Oh, true. That's a good point.
Because everyone was like, yo, you know you're allowed to bring your inhaler to the thing. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that, so I didn't bring it.
No.
It was something to do with that.
No.
Because
I know he brought the inhaler and he wasn't allowed. So the inhaler had been allowed by the Nevada State Commission or USADA or whatever. Obviously, it's just an inhaler he has asthma.
Yeah, obviously.
Right, which is not a common thing in an MMA fighter, right, to have asthma, because usually that makes it quite difficult for cardio and that. But if you're a really good striker, I guess it doesn't matter if you've got one punch power. During his rounds, he would have his inhaler, right, which is a no-go, right? He thought it was okay because it had been passed by, I believe it was Nevada State Commission or USADA or whatever. The government authority said it's okay, you can have it. It's not performance enhancing, right? However, it could be performance enhancing if you have it in between rounds to re-get your breath, right? That's a no-go.
Yeah.
You can have it in training. And it's not going to affect any substance in your blood or anything like that. It's just an inhaler, right? It's very simple. But you can't have that in between rounds for you to re-get your breath and then go in recovered than another person, right? You can't do that. So that's where Inhalergate came from. So Greg Hardy had the asthma inhaler in between rounds when I thought it was common sense. You can allow that in training. Of course you are. No one's going to expect you to kill yourself in training. But when in an actual fight, especially in the UFC, it's not an amateur fight. Well, it shouldn't be allowed in an amateur fight anyway. But it's the UFC. It's the best of the best. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen, you know?
Well, that's the thing. I brought that up because in that second round, he looked absolutely gassed. Absolutely gassed out. He was struggling.
Yeah, he has asthma. He's a heavyweight. It's difficult.
That's the thing. And I was just like, I kind of felt sorry for him. Because asthma's no joke, man, and if you don't... Okay, so it's like this. I think maybe he should be allowed his inhaler, but not to an amount that's going to allow him to fully recover enough.
It's too hard to regulate.
Know, it's so hard to calculate. That's why I'm trying to be so careful with my words.
If you've got asthma, you've got asthma. It's just the way it is.
If you can set him to like a baseline, you get what I mean? But I don't
think
it can happen.
I reckon he can have it before.
Yeah.
Right, I reckon he can have it. Yeah. I reckon he can have it before he makes the walk.
Yeah.
Asthma inhaler, because maybe, some people can have asthma attacks and things like that, right? But you have it before you make your walk. As soon as you walk out, that's your baseline, right?
Yeah.
You cannot have it before, right before the round. You cannot have it in between rounds. You can have it after. You know what? You can have it after the rounds. That's what you can have. If you feel like that and like they're gonna just do the decision, the fight's over. You can have your asthma, your asthma inhaler, right? It's just it can't be done.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like now, what is he handicapped without it? You know what I mean? Because does his energy go down a lot more quicker because of the asthma inhaler? So what if it could just set him to like a smaller level enough for it to be equal to the guy opposite?
It can't be done.
That is so hard to measure.
It can't be done because it's a genetic condition. Affecting inhalation. It doesn't work.
Because when he was hitting that second round, I was just like seeing him, what's his name, Marcin, just have a blast on him. You know, he was covering up, and I just felt like I felt really sorry for him, man. You know what I mean?
It's probably quite difficult to build out cardio for someone that has asthma, but it depends on you can have really extreme asthma and you can have quite mild asthma, and you can be an excellent runner or have excellent cardio. I think it's a change in training he can. I 100% think it's training. I 100% think the aerobic training just has to be tailor fit to someone that has asthma. Yeah. It's not as easy as someone in the general population, but if you're an athlete like that, I mean, if he was in an NFL draft, you should have decent cardio as well. They have a lot of combines that they have to do and things like that.